Hey folks, what's up? Hope you're all well out there in YouTube land. I know I am. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that wrote in. I was pretty overwhelmed actually about the amount of questions. I promised on Instagram that I'd answer every single one, so I am going to do that. This could be quite a long video as a result. It's taken me a while just to have the time to sit down to do a proper job of it, so it's taken me a few more days than I planned to, but we're here now. I've got my laptop. I'm just going to go through each question and do my best to answer them. Thank you ever so much to everybody that's been responding to the videos of late. I'm trying to do a bit more different stuff on the channel, I suppose, more performance videos and just generally how I play when it's just me on my own. So not necessarily just demos or a bit of tuition, but actually just recording some of the stuff that I do if I'm sat here just playing the guitar for fun and enjoyment, for more than anything else. So there we are. So thank you so much to everybody that's subscribed recently. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. Hope you find this channel fun. If you're an old school subscriber, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being part of the channel. It's a nice little community. I feel like we're all friends. That's a really nice feeling to have, that people are around, especially if you're going through dark times. It's nice to be able to talk to people. So you can talk to me, talk to everybody else here. It's a friendly environment. So there we are. That's all the thank yous out of the way. I've got to get on with these questions. So I've got my laptop. I'm just going to go through each one. I don't know what order these are going to come up in, so bear with me. There we go. So the first one is from, I'm going to get everybody's name wrong, by the way, so apologise now if there's something I can't pronounce or I don't get right. The first one is from Cathel Turton, and it says, "Hi Lee, do you have any tips for players who want to limit the use of the pentatonic scale in their lead playing to make their playing sound more interesting? Are there any other scales you would recommend? Thanks." Well, thanks for your question, Cathal. Wings of Icarus responded to that saying, use the major scale. And that's, yeah, I totally agree with that. First of all, you can do incredible stuff with pentatonic scales. Most people think of the pentatonic scale as being the minor or major pentatonic scale, but a pentatonic scale is a 5-note scale of any derivative. So penta being 5, tonic being the root, so pentatonic, 5 notes from the root. So it doesn't matter what scale it is, you can create a pentatonic scale from it. So don't feel completely limited by the use of a pentatonic scale. People do amazing things with the pentatonic scale, or a pentatonic scale. But I agree about the major scale. The major scale is incredibly important, because if you can nail the major scale harmony, so understanding the chord structures of, you know, a harmonized major scale of major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and then add the sevenths on as well, understand that across the fretboard, then what you're able to do is pretty much play along to anything that's been created in Western music. So that will open up the modes as well within that particular scale or particular key that you're in. And from there, it's just a matter of altering certain notes to turn it into other scales. So there's not a lot of difference between the natural minor scale, the 6th mode of the major scale, and things like harmonic minor, just a note difference. And the same for melodic minor as well. So if you understand major scale harmony, then what you're able to do a little bit further down the line is to take out certain chords from the major scale and place in a melodic minor chord and utilize the nature of melodic minor as well. If you mix all of that together with some chromatic stuff as well, and just basic phrasing and you know, that sort of stuff, then you can play over anything really. It's just about using your ears. So yeah, the major scale is the key thing. I've got loads of stuff on this channel, but there's tons and tons of material out there. In fact, on my website, which is www.leewraith.com, you'll find loads of free stuff there, free video lessons that you can download. One of them is the major scale across the entire fretboard. So go and check that out. If anybody's interested, it is there. Lots of resources available for that. So yeah, there we go. Hope that answers your question. Next one is from Ron Hoffman. Hi Ron, thank you for all the lovely comments. Do you have a band? Ever recorded an album? Are you a session guitarist? You're too good to just do demos. Well, thank you so much, Ron. I don't think doing demos is a lower art form, for want of a better term. I feel very privileged to do it, and you need lots of different skills to be able to do the demo stuff. So I feel very you know, happy and creative doing demo stuff. I haven't got a band per se that, you know, that I'm writing tunes with, and we're all buddies and we're doing this, that and the other together. I've been in lots of different function bands over the years, you know, making money, playing weddings and Royal Air Force bases and all that kind of stuff. That's always good fun. But currently I've got a group of people around me that are helping to create the album, you know, whether they're drummers, bass players, keyboard players, that kind of singers, that kind of thing. So not a band specifically. Ever recording album? Well, I've got 2 demo albums which are free to download on Bandcamp. They're instrumental stuff, and they've just been tunes that I've, you know, some of them I wrote when I was 18, some I wrote, you know, 5-6 years ago, but they are just demo tunes. So they sound good, but they've not been created like the new album is being created, you know, proper studio with a producer and all of that sort of stuff. But if anybody's interested in those tracks, go and check them out. They're free, or you can pay whatever you like. See, it depends how you see fit. So there we are. That's that question. Next one is from, I'm going to get this wrong, Diatma Shumu. Sorry about that. Hi Lee, you mentioned the Laney. Oh, actually, I answered this. I replied to this one straight away, but it was talking about the Laney L5 and all that sort of stuff being a really good solution for practicing at home. Yeah, and the bottom line is it's such a great little amp. It sounds fantastic. I'm using it on the album, using it to create demos to take to the main studio, and I'm using it in the studio as well. It's got such a great clean tones, 2-channel amp, 5 watts, and you can go USB out of it into a computer of your choice. If you guys have seen any of the Ibanez demos that I've done for Ibanez themselves or on here, or even the DiMarzio videos, that is all Laney L5, because it's just so portable. I can take it with me. It's this big, you know, I plug into this laptop, plug in, and I've got my recording device. So yeah, really, really great valve tone, and super versatile. So that's the L5. Talk about the, all right, Sunny Salamander has said, talk about the prototype. I can't wait to talk about the prototype. I want to tell you everything I know about the prototype. Unfortunately, I am sworn to secrecy, and if anybody knows me, they'll know that my main concern in life is integrity and credibility, and I would not let Ibanez down by spilling the beans on a prototype. That is still a prototype, I have to say, so things would change. So I wouldn't want to mislead you either. If I start talking about what I know about this guitar, and then in X amount of time they release it and it's different, I'd feel like I was letting you down or misleading you. So that's why I'm kind of trying to make videos so you can hear what it sounds like and you can see it. That's the best thing I can do to give you an idea of the guitar. So that's what I'm trying to do, really, is to let you, you know, behind the scenes see it and hear it, but I can't tell you much about it. And part of that reason is I don't know all the details of it as yet. I can tell you about bits and pieces about the prototype, but again, wouldn't be potentially the main guitar at the end of it, and there'll be others. This one won't be the only one. So just as soon as I can, I will be telling you everything I know. So please bear with me. Okay, next one's from Kai Sung Chu. Why Ibanez guitar? Right, okay, so since being, you know, a Teenage Mutant Ninja guitar player and seeing people like Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Paul Gilbert, all these massive guitar heroes playing Ibanez guitars, that's what I always aspired to have. And I didn't have one when I was a young guitar player because I couldn't afford one. I got hand-me-down. I was lucky to get hand-me-down guitars from my dad, and they were generally cheap guitars as well. The most expensive and best guitar I had back then was a Washburn KC90 Chicago series, which had a Floyd Rose on, so I was finally able to do all the kind of whammy bar stuff that I was hearing on Surfing with the Alien and all of the Passion and Warfare stuff. So the reason for Ibanez originally was they look cool as, don't they? And they sound amazing, and all my favourite players were using them. And so that's it. So as soon as I was able to get hold of Ibanez guitars, I've never looked back, and they've always been amazing instruments to me. I have a passion for them, and now I'm very, very, very blessed and lucky to be part of the artist roster for Ibanez, and that's an incredible honour for me. Wonderful company, fantastic instruments, and you know, I play lots of different guitars doing demos. I don't let that affect my feelings towards Ibanez, and I also don't let my feelings towards Ibanez affect how I perceive the guitars I'm playing in demos. If you're a demo guy or girl, realistically you need to disappear. It's all actually about what that piece of kit can do, and just kind of showing in a very honest way, this is what it sounds like. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And there we are. That's me and Ibanez. Next one, from Howard Sinclair. Thanks for your question, Howard. It says, "Highly, apart from guitar demos, do you have any gigs in your diary? If so, please let us know where, when, and with whom." Right, so most of the gigs I do these days are actually live demos. So I play lots of the guitar shows over in the UK and at NAMM, and also all over the place, wherever I'm asked by Laney or Ibanez or D'Addario to attend and just play. I'll play on the live stages, or I'll play in and around people that are mingling around the show. So, and all of that is mainly with a looper. I just put a loop down and play over the top. So they're my live bits and pieces. I've played lots of stuff live in the past. I used to, in fact, I used to do this quite a bit. Would be to take my electro nylon guitar with a looper, go into a local cafe called the Jam Cafe in Nottingham, which is where I live, and I would sit for 4 or 5 hours and just play loops. So I'd look around, see what people were reading, see what all the hipsters were reading, what they were tapping away on the laptop, and try and then create an ambience in there. And that was really good practice, just to sit and get paid to play guitar for 4 or 5 hours, just enjoying yourself on a Saturday afternoon. So short answer is no gigs in the diary other than guitar demo stuff as yet, but I probably will take the album that I'm recording on some form of tour. So I will keep you all posted on that, because I'm sure I'll try to video the process of figuring out how to get that done. So there we are. Next question is from Chris Saintmeyer, and it's, "Hayley, thank you for the Q&A. For drop tuning, is it better to go higher string gauge than a set of 10s? I use a Gibson SG and I'm transitioning into playing more groove metal and hard rock style music like Down and Mastodon." Well, first of all, I don't play a lot of that type of music. I like it, and I don't use a lot of drop tuning. I tend to just use a 7 or 8 string if I need anything like that. So I can't really offer you the best advice. You'd probably be better off talking to people that really do live in that world. I would suggest a higher gauge string is better though if you are dropping tuning, because I do, alternate tuning stuff, and you don't want your strings flopping around. So a higher gauge string, higher tension, will perform better for you, no doubt, from a physical perspective. So yeah, that would be the best advice I can give you from my standpoint. Hope that helps. Next question is from Barbaz Leah. Can you play any instrument besides guitar? So I play bass. I can knock out like a straight 8th groove on a drum set, and I'm grade 4 on a piano, but I haven't touched that for years. In fact, I really need to do that. I really enjoy playing a little tinkling on the piano, but I'm not very good. So there we are. The next one's from Rob Bob. Also, how do you feel about fret wraps? I've not seen you use one. Do you feel they are a need? I don't feel any way about fret wraps. If it's something that helps you get to where you want to musically, because that's what it's all about, then use them. I don't use them because the stuff that I do doesn't really require it, and I actually like the sound of resonating strings. So in my recent videos, there's a lot of kind of ambient sound from the guitar that I'm controlling, and that might be a drone note. So I might hit the top, the bass E, and then I'm playing a scale or a chord shape, and I want everything kind of resonating and ringing out. So with a fret wrap, it's going to dull that tone. It's going to, you know, control it all, and I want to be able to control it myself. If I was doing a lot of two-handed tapping, then maybe I would consider it, but I kind of grew up without fret wraps and trying to do two-handed tapping, so you kind of learn how to control the extra noise that's created when you're messing around like that without one. So I'm not in any way opposed to fret wraps. Just do whatever it is that helps you to achieve what you're trying to achieve musically. I just don't use them. Okay, next one is from Ruzbahen Selahai. I probably pronounced that so wrong. I do apologise. We've already spoke, haven't we? So I've kind of answered some of your questions. I think I may have even answered this, but let's have a look. Hi Lee, as a 16-year-old guy who really loves to become a musician, guitarist, do I have to cross out all other options in my life to become the person I love? What did you do yourself? Your reviews are the most useful ones, and you're a big idol in playing and lifestyle for me. Don't worry if you couldn't pronounce my name. Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you so much for your question. I'm glad that the things that I do as a job that I've put out there, you know, you find some inspiration in. This is more of a life question, isn't it, really? And I kind of answered you in another post. I think you posted on my D'Addario video. And for me, it's all about actually, rather than searching for fame and fortune, just try to display honesty and credibility and integrity in everything that you do. So, you know, if you like playing Hungarian wedding music, then throw yourself into that, because that's where your passion lies. And therefore, if you then try to present that to people, people will see that honesty, and they'll either like it or they won't. But the people who do like it, they'll know that they're getting the true version of you, and you'll be happy with yourself as well, because you aren't trying to be somebody you're not. And I think that goes with everything in your life, not just music, but just if you can try to act with integrity, honesty, and be happy, then what you'll tend to do, I think, is attract the same qualities back from the universe that's around you. So, and then that's going to lead to opportunities that you want to be part of anyway, because you're talking to the same kinds of people. So that's the best advice I could give you. Just follow your dreams, but stay true to yourself. There we are. Okay, next one's from Boys G. Most burning question for me: when will your next album be released, and do you appear on any other albums, say as a studio guitarist or collaboration? Love your playing and instructional videos. Well, thank you so much. That's really kind. The next album I'm really excited about. It's been a very tough year last year and into this year as well, and music has been a really helpful way of getting me through that. And then therefore the music has kind of become a therapy for me. So I think the next album will be released towards the end of this year. I might need some advice from anybody out there, to be honest with you, about what to do to fund some of it. I'm paying for as much of it as I can, as and when I can afford to do it. And I want to do a proper job of it. So I'm just chipping away at it, and I've got lots more videos to share in relation to that, how it's progressing. So there is more coming along, and the tracks are coming together as well. I'm really excited. Got things like a gospel choir on one of the tracks. So all that kind of stuff's going to be great. But I could do with some advice if anybody's ever looked at trying to fund an album, proper album, whether you think crowdfunding would be a useful thing, whether it would be worth doing. I honestly don't know as yet, so I'll just have to see. But I'd hope, really hope that I can get the album out by the end of the year. So that's that. Do you appear on any other albums? Well, I've got my couple of demo albums, as I mentioned earlier, and I've done lots and lots of session stuff, online sessions. So there's loads of my bits and pieces out there, whether it's just a rhythm part or a quick guest solo somewhere. There's lots of little bits and pieces out there. Okay, next question. Ben Haunting Scream 1 asks, how many guitars do you own? And could you do a collection video, please? Thank you. Well, that's a really good idea, and I think I should. I did a Facebook Live video beginning of last year, and I think that might still be on my Facebook page, which you can find if you want to go and have a look at, where I went through the guitars in my collection. There's not a lot at all, but let's think numbers wise. I've got the prototype Ibanez, there's the S, there are two RGs, there's two RGs, there's this Artcore jazz box, I've got an old telly, and I've got an acoustic, and I've got an electro nylon. So 8 guitars. That's my collection of guitars. And it's not something I'm ever trying. Oh no, there's one more. Sorry, there's a Road Core as well, so it's 9. Which sounds like actually quite a lot. I didn't realise I actually had that many. Which sounds stupid, doesn't it? But yeah, that's probably, you know, enough for me. I'm not somebody who's a big collector who wants like 1,000 guitars or anything like that. I'd really like a gypsy jazz guitar, but again, got to go and find one. Got to go and buy one. There we are. So yeah, I'm going to do a video on all those guitars, I think, very, very soon. Next question is from Chris Lawton. What mods upgrades would you recommend for a Gem Junior on a budget? What a great guitar for the price. Just so good. They are, I don't know, it's such a fun guitar to play. I don't notice a great deal of difference when I'm just playing a Gem Junior between that and a regular Gem. The thing is, one of the biggest things you can do on a guitar that'll be a bit more budget will be to upgrade the pickups. Quickest thing to do. So go and find some DiMarzios of your choosing, or some Seymours, and switch them out, and that would be the best mod you could probably do. And then other than that, it's just down to your personal preference. So there we are. That would be the best advice I can give you there. Next question is from a number, PRH654321. So, highly enjoy the channel a lot and always enjoy the composition and improvisation aspects. Do you have any thoughts on how to approach composition? Thanks. Yes and no, depending on what you're trying to do. So if I'm going to, so recently there were a couple of backing tracks I posted that I'm playing over the top of. They came from the fact that I needed to make a new bunch of backing tracks for demos, jam tracks really, more than anything. So I'm not trying to write the end-all best, you know, beautiful piece of music. They're just jam tracks, but it's still composition. And they start life with me just noodling on the guitar, coming up with a chord progression. So I'm thinking, I'm in this major key, I'm playing around with these chords. That's a nice little groovy thing. Okay, now I'll go on to Logic and I'll put down a drum groove and a bass line or some keys. There we are. That's composition. I've created a piece of music, but it's not composition in terms of trying to make something that's from the heart, if you like. So if I'm trying to do something from that perspective, then I probably would start with a melody, because I'll have played something, I'll have improvised something that's moved me in some way, and then I would start to construct what I was hearing in my head around that. And that can be, you know, it can take a long time. I'll give you an example. I had a piece of music which is actually one of the demo tracks on Bandcamp. You can go and check it out, and it's called A Twisted Heaven. And I had the chords and the whole piece of music completed when I was like 20 years old. And for the life of me, I could not figure out a melody I was happy with. It took 15, 16 years, and then all of a sudden I found it. Just fell under my fingers one day, and I thought, that's what this track needed. So, biggest tip for composition, patience. And go out and enjoy life. Don't just sit with the guitar or focus solely on music, because then you don't have the influence of friends and family and life and nature and experience to kind of funnel and channel into your music. And what happens is, if you don't do that, your music sounds lifeless, because it's not coming from a place of joy or sorrow or enlightenment. There we are. There's my little 2penneth. Okay, next one is from Gareth Harrison. Hi Lee, could you do a gear tour showing all the guitar amps and pedals that you own? Yeah, so I'll do that. I'll definitely do that. It's Laney amps, it's Ibanez guitars and a few other bits. Pedals wise will be very short video because I don't really A, use them and B, own many. Okay, next one, scroll down a bit more. How can we overcome gas and focus on playing? Cheers, thanks from Dennis there. So for those who don't know, it's GAS, so gear acquisition syndrome, not the flatulence kind of gas. Although I do suffer from that from time to time if I've had too many beans. I would say just do more playing. Just as you know, it sounds crazy as a demo person. You know, it's all about the gear, isn't it? But the reality is, you've just got to sit and enjoy the playing. I will happily sit on a Redwood RS1 Stratocaster that's £90 and enjoy playing music on it. So go back to what made you pick up the guitar in the first place and really focus on that and enjoy that. And over time, if there are things you're being then limited by the sounds, then go to look to find the equipment that can get you to where you need to be, rather than it being the other way around, if that makes sense. There's nothing wrong with being inspired by a new pedal though, or something like that, but just make sure it comes from a place of inspiration as opposed to this will solve all my problems. Next question is from Regular Dude. Which is your favourite chorus pedal? I honestly don't have one, and that's because I very, 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 very rarely use any chorus on anything that I do. I'm trying to think back to pedals that I've demoed. It might be the Corona, the TC Corona. That was a nice sounding pedal. I'm sure that's a chorus pedal. That seems to ring a bell. But again, not really a chorus pedal guy. Well, next question is from Ryan Simmons. Hi Ryan, how are you doing? We've already spoken, haven't we? So I probably answered some of this already. Let's have a look. Where do you live? I live in Nottingham, which is if you don't know England and you don't know the geography, is right bang in the middle of England, in the Midlands, in the East Midlands, no less. Robin Hood country. Which companies and communities do you wish you were involved with? Okay, so companies. I'm really happy with the people and the brands that I work with. I'm not looking for another amp brand. I'm not looking for another guitar company. I'm not looking for another string brand or anything like that. If I use more pedals, then I suppose it would be great to be working with a brand like Strymon or something like that, or Wampler, because they just make such great stuff. I'm trying to think of what else. And then from a demo perspective, one of the things I can't do now, when I was the Boss demo guy, I could go to any store and go and do demos for them, and that's part of the job really. One of the things I can't do now that I'm doing things for Dawson's Music, quite rightly, as a retailer, is I can't go to another retailer and start doing demos, which means that I can't go and see my old mate Rob Chapman down at Anderton's and hang out with Lee and Rob and do any videos for them. So I wish I could. I wish I was free enough to be able to do that, because that would be really good fun, and I really like those guys. Lovely folks. So yeah, they would be it. Communities wise, I am really pleased to be part of the online guitar community these days, and that has come about really because I used to keep myself well out of it. That's come about as a result of people like Tom Quayle, David Beebe, Dave Bronze and Dan Smith on the Guitar Hour, creating such a lovely, friendly environment for everybody to join in and chat to, and just being inclusive and being honest with everything that they're doing in a very kind and supportive environment. And so when you start to meet people in and around that work, and name millions of people like Mark McGuigan, who's a really great player, lovely person as well. My old mates Paul Glover, Paul and Chris have got an absolutely brilliant YouTube channel. You need to go and watch their videos. They are so funny. Paul's a great player as well, really stand-up guy. Chris is funny too. So yeah, they're making some very, very funny videos and really good videos. So you should check them out. And just being around people like that, and the people that I'm involved with, the brands, those communities, it's been really nice. It's been really nice to find friends within the guitar community. So I hope you guys find that. I hope you guys join in with that. You know I'm accessible. Come and find me on Facebook. Add me as a friend. You can chat there. Instagram too. I really like Instagram. It's lots of fun. Okay, there we are. That's it. So what else did he ask? What else? Which elements of your videos, playing, recording do you feel happiest with? And what do you think you want to improve most? Okay. Elements of my videos, first of all. Well, I think I wish I had more time to do a better job of them. I think you always feel that. Because I'm shooting these videos and other videos on my own. I haven't got somebody there who can do more fancy shots whilst I'm playing, that kind of stuff. But I have things in the pipeline to fix that. Elements of my playing that I'm happiest with. I'm going through a phase where I'm just enjoying playing, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to play for a goal. I'm not trying to improve. I'm not trying to improve my playing over changes, for instance, or improve my technique on X, Y, and Z. I'm just in this period now where I'm just really enjoying playing and trying to just let out some of the, you know, pain and heartache that I've had through the guitar. And I think then that's the happiest I am with my playing, if that makes sense. And then again, that's the same for recording. So that's because I'm trying to do that. I'm much happier with what I'm putting out. What do you think you want to improve most? Well, like I said, I'm not really in that kind of phase of it. From the videos I've explained, but from a playing perspective, God, there's so much. There's always something. There's always something that I'd love to be able to do better. But what I don't do these days is I don't look at another player and go, wow, look at that amazing country playing and go, right now I need to focus on that. I've stopped being that kind of player. I now just enjoy it. I just sit back and enjoy what other musicians are doing rather than pitching myself against it and trying to then improve. I'm sure that will change. I'm sure there'll be a point where I go, right, it's time for me to get back on my jazz chops train. But for now, I'm quite happy where I am. Most importantly, when you're in Manc, will you come for a pint? Well, we've already said this because the pint's on me, my friend. I hope you're all well, and if anybody else in and around Manchester, London as well, and anywhere in the world, just, you know, look after each other. Times aren't particularly very good at the minute. Next one is from Sensing the Chaos. Cool name. Hey Lee, how did you get involved in the gear industry doing reviews and stuff like that? Obviously you're a fantastic talent. Well, thank you mate, fantastic player, which helps in spades, but I've always been fascinated. Okay, I got involved in the gear industry by chance. Cut a very long story short, if you go back onto Bandcamp, which I was banging on about earlier, those demo tracks, I hung around and waited for Steve Vai one day, because I recorded them all on a Boss GT8, which was a multi-effect. So I borrowed it off somebody at the time. Gave these tracks to Steve Vai, and really randomly, a few months later, he wrote to me and said some very, very nice things, which was just like, wow. And then I was at a local music shop where I'd borrowed the GT8 from, and I said, this is what's happened. Steve Vai has, you know, said these very nice, kind words about the music, and I recorded it on the GT8. So the rep from Boss said, oh, that's great, blah, 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 blah. Let's send you the latest bits and pieces. So I did that. I got sent some bits and pieces. And then literally a few years later, a job advert came up to become the Boss UK demonstrator, or one of them, because Alex Hutchins at the time, who was incredible, was too busy. He was just too busy going all over the world doing his thing, and they needed some people to kind of step into his very big shoes and do little bits and pieces in the UK. So I just put my name in the hat for that. and got the job, along with a really good friend of mine called James Roberts, who's a fantastic player, lovely guy as well. Excuse me. So that's how I got into it. So then I started doing, the Boss demo stuff, going to live shows, and did a couple of gear demos down at Anderton's. They're still on, probably on Rob's channel. And it was meeting Rob that actually, he said to me, I won't tell the full story right now, but he said, you need to start making videos, Lee. Learn how to make videos, start making videos. So I did. And that's pretty much what got me into it. And then from there, Dawson's approached me and said, would you be interested in doing this for us? And wind forward a few months later, I'm doing the Dawson's music videos. And then while all that's ticking over, the Ibanez and Laney work started to come in. So that's how I got into it. But there's a reason why I exist in that world, or this world, and that is because I've listened to lots and lots of different styles of music, because I enjoy lots of different styles of music from a very, very young age, and therefore I play lots of different styles of music and don't necessarily then really fit into a particular genre very easily. So I don't fit into a band for that reason very well. I could join a band and play metal, or then go and do this, that and the other, but me personally, because I like such a myriad of different stuff, the fulfillment wouldn't be there. But in the demo world it is, because I get to play all kinds of different stuff. I get to improvise, which is my favourite thing, so it's like the perfect fit for me. So all those years of playing, just to play, all of that stuff has paid off and fits nicely into the world that I now exist in. I hope that helps, or at least answers your question. Next one is from Lee Miller. Hi Lee, thank you for all the lovely comments that you make on all the videos, much appreciated, my friend. First off, Lee, I have to thank you for a review you did a couple of years ago. It was on a 2015 Les Paul LPM. After watching your review, I decided to purchase it, and it's an absolute beast. Yes, they are. I have recorded so many of my songs using it, and I've gotten so many memorable moments out of it. Especially since up until that point I had always been an Ibanez and Fender Strat player. So now on to my questions. Okay, got to press the read more bit. Oh, 5. Okay, number 1. What do you enjoy doing when you aren't recording and doing the Dawson's video reviews? Okay, so I enjoy playing guitar and doing the videos that I've been doing of late, because it's cathartic. I enjoy walking my dog, Olive. You might have seen it already. She's lovely. I like going out for meals with friends, and I like going to the gym. Sounds a bit boring. I like to read. I love films. I'll go and watch any film. I love the cinema. So yeah, that's a big one for me. I enjoy wine, lots of red wine, and travel. I like to do a lot of traveling as well. So, and painting. I do a lot of painting and drawing. In fact, I need to get back on that train. So yeah, just that kind of thing. I actually quite like doing DIY as well, which is a bit sad. So there we are. Number 2, who has influenced your absolutely brilliant guitar? Well, thank you, Lee. I always feel weird when people say things like that. You don't know what to say. Even though your playing style truly is in a world of... Well, I don't feel like you said, even though your playing truly is in a world of its own. Well, I don't feel that way, but thank you so much. Because you're always aware of your own influences, and you can hear them all coming out in various different things, so you never feel truly unique in any way. My guitar playing was influenced initially by my dad, who taught himself to play in the 60s, went on to play in function bands and cover bands, doing Dire Straits and Clapton and the Eagles and all those kind of bands. So in my house, as I was growing up, I was listening to Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Django Reinhardt, Chet Atkins, just Queen, Dire Straits, all that wonderful music, and classical music as well. And Les Paul, that was another one. Les Paul and Mary Ford, loads of stuff. So that had an influence on me. So I saw my dad; he was my first guitar hero. Taught me my first chords, showed me the pentatonic scale, and I was just happily like trying to work out Dire Straits bits and pieces and that sort of stuff. So my dad, then probably Mark Knopfler, because I remember watching Alchemy, which is an incredible live version. What's it? A double cassette live album. It's probably on YouTube now. The best version of Sultans of Swing for me ever. So much passion and intensity in it. So it's just brilliant. So yeah, so Mark Knopfler was probably then probably Brian May, because Queen probably my favourite band. And then from Brian May, I'm missing loads of people out here by the way, but Gary Moore is in there, and then you've got then Joe Satriani and Steve Vai and Malmsteen and Paul Gilbert and all of those players as well. But on the other side, you've got Chet Atkins, Martin Taylor, who else? Oh, just so many, and everybody. And it's still happening now. There'll be players that I listen to and go, oh wow. So I'll be, inspired by what Tom Quayle is doing. I might watch Tom play, or might see, something that a student of mine might play and go, wow, that's cool. And you just kind of get influenced by everybody if you allow it. So there we are. Number 3, if you could play on stage with any one guitar player, who would that guitarist be? Oh, that's a really good question. I think I'll probably just to tick it, but there'd be loads and loads of players. I'm gonna have to stop this now because I've got to change my battery. That's how long I've been banging on, so stand by. Right, change the battery now. Yeah, so it probably would be Steve Vai, because he's still doing it, he's still out there, he's still incredible, and it would be a great honour to share the stage with him. But I can name 100 more players I'd also like to do that with. So there we are. Favourite all-time movie? Oh my God, just so many, so many. Just because I was talking about it recently with a friend of mine, and we do all the quotes from the movie as well, and it's just a brilliant movie. It'll probably be Goodfellas.
You're funny.
You mean,
So?
well, let me understand this, because maybe it's me, I'm a little fucked up, maybe. But I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you. I make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you.
But, favourite war movie might be Saving Private Ryan, because it's just visceral in the first few minutes, isn't it? And just breathtaking in many respects. But just so many. Yeah, I love movies. And lastly, does Olive like to sing with you sometimes when you play? She's absolutely adorable, by the way. She is adorable. No, she doesn't like to sing. She's not a singing dog. My old family dog, if you played a harmonica, it would howl along to it, which was always a fun party trick. But Olive, not interested in singing. She's more interested in squirrels. That's her bag. Next one is from Nicodemus Janssen. Hi, Nicodemus. We are Facebook friends, aren't we, sir? Hi, Lee. Great to have with a Q&A. A couple of questions. What are the strengths of and differences between different Laney amps? I know you use the Lionheart. I myself have the GHR, which I know you know too. And could you give me a playing example of how to use the modes? Okay, well, I'll come back to that. The way I see the Laney amps, if you think about the blue Lionheart stuff, and then you've got on the other end of the spectrum the Ironheart stuff. The Lionheart stuff, think of that from if you're going to play anything pop, R&B, country, jazz, funk, blues, up to classic rock. That's where they sit beautifully. And on the other end of the spectrum, you've got the Ironheart range, which is, you can play the most brutal metal on those amps. They'll come all the way back down again into, Lionheart territory, but that's where they're fire-breathing monsters, really. So somewhere in the middle of that sits the GHR range. That's the way I perceive it all. So if you want to know what that sounds like, anybody out there, I was looking through the official video for the Laney GHR, which was last year now, and that's on the Laney channel, Laney YouTube channel, so go and check that out if you want to have a listen to it. So you've got line, I'm doing this the wrong way around for you to see it, but yeah, Lionheart on one side, which takes you from your crystal cleans up to classic rock. You've got the second channel engaged and you're maxing it out. And then you've got the GHR range, which can take a step into that world and also into the Ironheart world. And then you've got Ironheart going all the way up to the most brutal death metal. Okay, so that's that bit of it. A playing example of how to use the modes, I mean really practically. When you know the modes as scales, what then? I've played to different backing tracks, but they are specifically made for one mode. How do I use them in real music? Well, I'm going to do a new video on this. I did a how to learn the modes in 15 minutes. That's on this channel somewhere. So go and have a look at that. What I think about now is major scale harmony. If you can understand major scale harmony, then the modes really just kind of slip into your mind easily. And that's where you need to, that's how you bring them into real music. So let's say you've got the key of G major. So the chords in G, you've got the notes of G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp and G. And then for each one of those chords, there's a very specific harmonized chord that sits underneath it. And that pattern is always major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. So G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, then back down. So a chord progression might just be a song, for instance, might be 3 chords that for your verse. So that might be G, C and D, 1, 4, 5. And then you might have 3 more chords for a a chorus. When you're strumming along those chords and creating those chords, whether it's on a keyboard or whatever, if they're there and you're playing along to them and you're using the notes from that scale, the major scale, then you're not really thinking about the modes, but you're playing them anyway, because the notes that are sitting over the top have a different relationship with each one of those chords as they're being played. So as the chord of G major, so within G, C and D, and you're playing the G major scale, as you're playing the G major scale over the chord of G, you're playing the first mode. It's going to sound like Ionian. And as the chord progression then changes to C, you're playing the 4th chord. So all the notes you're playing are now the 4th mode. They sound like C Lydian. And then when you move to the D and you carry on playing the same notes over the top, you're now playing the 5th mode, and that sounds different again. And that sound is the sound of Mixolydian. And that becomes more apparent as you add extensions to the chords as well. So that's how it happens in real music. So you're not kind of going like B Dorian backing track and sitting on a static chord. You're actually looking for, you're looking for the parent key, and you're playing the parent key without really thinking too much about what's happening modally, but you can break it down. And if you understand it that way first, then you can then take the sounds of those different modes and go, right, I really like the sound of Lydian, so I'm going to play this chord of C, and I'm going to play the scale of G major over the top, and it's going to give me that particular sound. So I might go, someone might say, play me something that sounds Spanish or flamenco-y. So I know that the mode of Phrygian has a very Spanishy, flamenco-y type of sound, because it's got that minor second interval. That first interval is a semitone. So I will go, okay, so I'm going to play a chord of B minor, and then I'm going to play B Phrygian. So B Phrygian is the 3rd mode of the G major scale. So I might start going B minor, and then I'm going to play the G major scale over the top, and it's going to sound like B Phrygian. That's the best thing I can do to explain it without actually having a guitar in my hands, but I am going to do a few more tutorial videos on things like that coming forward. I hope that helps you and anybody else out there a bit confused about modes. I certainly hope it hasn't made things worse. Okay, next one's from Rob Bob. Hello, I purchased a GEM 77 BFP and a Roland Microcube. Can you please show me the best way to do string bending and vibrato? As you're an exceptional player, have you ever considered putting together a course for beginner to intermediate to advanced? And at 2 to 3 hours per day, how long would it take, estimated, to be able to play Tender to Surrender as Steve Vai does? Wow, okay. First up, good choices on the guitar and Cube amp. They are great amps, brilliant guitar, lots of fun with that to be had. I'm going to do, that's the next two things, there is a Lick Library tutorial package that's coming out in the next couple of months, and it is for almost absolute beginners, up to people just showing people how to use a looper pedal and all of that stuff. And part of that's going to include some of the phrasing, so the string bending and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to say to you that is the beginner and to intermediate course that's definitely coming out. So look out for that. That's the best thing to do for that. And to answer your question about how long would it take to be able to play Tender Surrender at 2 to 3 hours per day, it's really a question of on practice, as opposed to that, how long would it take to get to there. It depends on what your practice is like. It's not about the length of time you spend as much as what you're doing during that time. Because if you had 8 hours a day and you were playing for 8 hours a day, but your concentration during that time amounted to 10 minutes, then if it's other than kind of your fingers moving around and getting used to certain bits and pieces, you're only ever actually putting in 10 minutes worth of practice. Whereas with 2 to 3 hours a day, if you were really intense with that, then you might see a different level of improvement over a short period of time. So it's really difficult for me to say at 2 to 3 hours per day you can expect to be able to play X, Y and Z by X, Y and Z. It's impossible to say actually, and you'll get there when you get there, depending on how much effort you put in and how much time you spend really listening to it. If you want to play that song or any song, then you have to kind of know it. To do a proper job of it, you have to know it to the point where you're really listening to the phrasing, every single note, and really trying to feel what they are feeling at the time. And that, with a song like Tender Surrender, there's loads of passion in that. There's lots of really incredible techniques in it as well, all executed beautifully as Steve Vai always does, and naturally. I would, I think it's a worthy thing to aim for sure. And I would say take your time, enjoy the process, and learn. If you're needing to learn the sweep section or the hammer and pull off the slur section, where he's holding the fretboard with his right hand and doing cascading stuff coming down the neck. Just enjoy the process of learning that and do each bit properly. Not just necessarily learning the song, but make sure you get a wider understanding of those techniques as a result of it. So you don't just get to the end where you go, I can play Tender Surrender and nothing else. You get to the end, you can play Tender Surrender, and you've now got this wealth of different techniques under your fingers and the harmony that sits with that song too. I hope that is not discouraging in any way. I'd like it to be the opposite of that. Next one is from Joshua Albatross. Hey Lee, just wondering if you've heard of a band called Consider the Source. No, I haven't. They play Middle Eastern style music, that sounds good, but with elements of jazz, prog, and with no shortage of shredding. Cool. I think you dig them, it sounds like I would, and it would be cool if you guys got connected. Cheers. Well, I'll certainly check them out. Thank you so much for the recommendation. Next one's from Chris Biggs. Hi Lee, big fan of your playing. Hi Chris, thank you very much mate. It always seems a bit surreal when people say that. Apart from music being your career, what motivates you the most and keeps you inspired? I think meeting people, meeting other players, meeting other musicians, that inspires me to bother to carry on doing bits and pieces, certainly on my channel. And then just life and enjoying it and trying to become better at it, and helping others as well. That's always good. You always get a payoff yourself when you help somebody else. So if you want to feel better about yourself and feel good, go and help somebody else. and that in turn gives you some inspiration. That certainly helps me. Okay, George Russell says, hey man, if you're allowed to say what's the neck on the Ibanez prototype made of, what pickups are in it? I wish I could talk at great length, George, about all of that, but sadly not as yet. Next one's from Weezer7. I like the green one. I think the guitar, okay. Anyway, after a broken wrist a few years ago and a doctor deciding that my wrist position was near enough, wow, so it didn't get reset, my wrist automatically pulls away from the strings as I try to strum and sweep down. Have you in your lesson come across this before, and if so, any exercises that can help? Cheers, Bill. Mate, I'm so sorry that you went through that. That's not good, and that you're still having difficulties with it now. I don't know whether that's something, not being a medical professional, that a physio could help you with to improve and just make it feel better for you. Let me just try and get my head around what's going on, what you're trying to say. My wrist automatically pulls away from the strings, so you're doing that. It's not something I've come across before. I would try to have a look at doing this, whatever you do, really, really slowly. And I would also ask, is that really affecting how you're playing? Is it making a difference? And sometimes that difference can make you unique. So if you take someone like Django, for instance, who only had 2 working fingers on his fretting hand as a result of the caravan fire he was in, that made him phrase things in a very different way to other people, because he had to. He had no choice. He had to play it a certain way, and as a result, you know, the legend was born and continues to inspire and create an entire genre of music as a result of it. Another person who's very kind of similar to that, if you watch Greg Howe, the incredible Greg Howe, there was an interview I heard on No Guitar Is Safe, which is a fantastic podcast. You should go and listen to that if you get a chance. And he talks about his own limitations, his own physical limitations when playing, that have then become something that he's made his own. And by no means does the man sound like he is physically limited in any way on the guitar. He's an incredible player. So, number one is, does it really impact on your playing? And if so, think about perhaps, rather than focusing on that action, is it a playing position that can be adjusted to help you? And that's about the best advice I can give you, Bill, without actually seeing it. It's very tricky to help you otherwise. But let me know. Let me know if that helps. Okay, next one. From Katuxi Flenter. Are you allowed to tell me more about the Ibanez prototype? Okay, sorry about that. Next one is Ruli Gonzalez. Do you use pedals or do you just plug straight into the amplifier? When you're not playing guitar, what do you enjoy doing? Well, I've certainly answered the last question. Do you use pedals? I definitely use a looper, because that's really helpful from a demo perspective. I will use a Wampler Tumnus if I want to get a bit more drive. And there's a new Laney pedal that's coming out as well. I've been using that. That's just to cascade some gain into an amp, because I like to have the amp really clean, and then I use pedals to kind of give the drive, excuse me. And sometimes I use a delay as well in the loop of the amp if I'm playing live. And that's pretty much, and that is generally a Boss DD7, because you could run over it in your car and it'll still work. So they're superb pedals, really. So there we are. My favourite thing is to just plug into the amp, but sometimes that's not completely possible if you're trying to demo things. So a couple of cascading gains and a delay pedal and the looper. That's pretty much me set. And there, I think, there we are. We have come to the end of the monstrous Q&A session. I really enjoyed all your questions. Thank you so much to everybody that took the time to write in. I hope I answered them all sufficiently for you. I might do this more regularly, because obviously there's a lot of questions there and I'm sure there'll be more. So let me know if you think that'd be a good idea. Please give the video a thumbs up and all that like stuff, because that really helps. And let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any retorts to anything I've said, if you've got any suggestions for anybody that's asked a question that you think you'll be able to help with as well. I don't have all the answers. You guys are out there, and I could really do with your advice as well in relation to how to fund this album, whether crowdfunding is something that you think is even worth doing, whether I could pre-order it. I don't know. I could just do with your advice, so just let me know. Right guys, I'm going to sign off there. Got to edit this video together, chuck it up for you, so hopefully you're watching this very, very soon on YouTube. And I've got to rush off and do some Dawson's demos as well. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for taking part, and I'll catch you guys soon. Take care.